This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and today the topic under discussion is music theory. And bang, there goes half the audience straight away as soon as I've said the words music theory. But I promise you it's worthwhile. Basically what we're going to try and do today is minimise the amount of theory that you need to know, or that you might think you need to know. Much of what we're going to talk about today is probably stuff that you already know, but possibly don't even think of it as music theory, or you may be a bit sketchy on it, or you may know it but not realise the significance of it. So that's what we're about today, so let's get started with...
knowing the chromatic scale.
Yes, knowing the chromatic scale, which if you're, for the uninitiated, that is the scale that you get if you go up any string in increments of 1 fret. Like that. And, it's basically massively important. If you want to know where your bar chords are, if you want to know where your pentatonic scale patterns are, if you want to know basically what fret to play at to play the right thing for the song or the solo or the tune that you're playing, then you need to know where it is on the neck, and that is all courtesy of the chromatic scale. If you don't know it, basically it works like this. We have these notes here. Let's go for the starting on the A string, we have A, then B, then C, then D, then E, then F, then G, then A. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Right, now you'll notice I didn't go to every fret there. I skipped over some. That's because between some pairs of those notes, there is a note in between. There, between the A and the B, there is a note which is an A which has been made higher, so we call it A sharp. Or you can think of it as a B which has been made lower, B flat. So in between the A and the B, there is the note of A sharp, B flat. And likewise in between the C and the D, there's the C sharp or D flat. So going up 1 fret at a time along the whole length of the string, we get A sharp, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D flat, D, D sharp, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G flat, G, G sharp, A flat, and then back to A. So it always at the 12th fret comes back to the open string, and it always goes in that order. There's never a sharp or flat between B and C on any string, or between E and F on any string. So there's the E and the F on this string, no sharp or flat between them. Likewise, there's the B and the C, no sharp or flat between them. Knowing that basic progression of 12 notes, what order they come in, and being able to count up and down it, in a sort of mental arithmetic kind of way. So if you were to say, okay, what's 7 semitones above B? Well, I'll tell you that's an F sharp. If what's 6 semitones below D? Well, that is a G sharp. So just knowing that will kind of speed up your ability to find where things are on the neck, and it's something that you can practice when you're not even anywhere near a guitar. So that's the chromatic scale. Next,
knowing 1, 4, 5 chords in all keys.
Yeah, knowing your 1, 4 and 5 chords in any key. Now, I knew this long before I knew that they were called the 1, 4 and 5 chords. I, to this day, still think of it as the Eddie Cochran trick, because you can play, Summertime Blues. Like that. So that's that little shape there, and I call it the Eddie Cochran trick because, look, you've got 3 steps to heaven as well. Oh, come on, everybody. You could equally call it the, the Wild Thing trick. Like that. Whatever you want to call it, it's the 1, 4 and 5 chords. Those are the 3 primary chords in any key. And If you know what chords are in the same key as each other, then you know what chords will occur with each other more frequently in a song. So if you're trying to figure out what chords are in a song, this is obviously kind of a useful thing to know. You know what chords are going to be likely to be occurring together in the song that you're figuring out. So, just as an exercise, pick any fret at random. So let's go with the 6th fret. If I do that and play that little kind of string of chords from the 6th fret, what is the sequence of chords I've got? Well, that's B flat, E flat, and F. And I know that because I know that those are the 1, 4, and 5 chords in that key. And it partially goes back to the fact that I know that because I know the chromatic scale. Knowing which chords are closely related to each other is a massively important thing for being able to figure out songs, for being able to write songs, for being able to remember songs. Because if you know that the next chord in the song you're playing has to be such and such a chord because you know it's that one of the chords that's closely related to the ones that you're playing, then it takes a lot of the guesswork and memorization out of learning how to play a song, because you can remember it a lot easier. So, talking about chords which are closely related to each other, that brings me on to the next topic on the list.
Knowing relative major-minor relationships.
Yes, relative majors and minors. This major-minor relationship is hardwired into all aspects of music, pretty much. Anything that you can say is major, whether it's a major scale, a major pentatonic, a major chord, major arpeggio, anything that you can put that word major onto as a label, always has a relative minor. And it's a fixed relationship, and it, again, is a strong bond between chords and scales and stuff. The easy way to find relative minors is if you play a major chord, that's an A major chord. Again, we know that because E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Chromatic scale, again, you see. We know that's an A chord. If I want to find out what the relative minor of the A chord is, then you can do all kinds of complicated, playing A major scale. Count 6 notes up the A major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the root note of your relative minor chord. That's the way it's usually taught. The way I figured it out when I was kind of ploughing through all of this theory stuff that I didn't even really know was theory back in my adolescent days when I was learning this, is just go down 3 frets. 1, 2, 3, and turn this major shape into a minor shape. So A major is F sharp minor. There we go. So if I was to do it with this major shape here, this is a D chord. Again, we know that because that's an A chord. B flat, B, C, D flat, D. Move that down 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, and it suddenly becomes a minor chord. That is a B minor. That is the relative minor of D major. Every major chord, every major scale, every major pentatonic has a relative minor, and vice versa. This is one that I often like to throw a little curveball at my students. I'll say, okay, here's a jam track. It's in A major. Play me a solo using A major pentatonic. And inevitably, they always kind of go 5th fret and start playing. You're not playing A major pentatonic. That's A minor pentatonic. And these are often like experienced, players, guys who are out playing in bands on a weekend, and ask them to play a major pentatonic, and it's suddenly the hardest. It's a tricky thing for them to figure out. They've got to start counting on their fingers and toes. All you got to know is that A major is F sharp minor. So transpose that into other keys. So B major is G sharp minor, C major is A minor, and so on. This is a fixed relationship. As I say, major, then go down 3 frets and make it minor. That's your major to relative minor. Or if you prefer to think in minors, minor, go up 3 frets and make it major. It's something that you just need to know. We're talking about chords in keys earlier with that 1, 4, 5 thing. Okay, well, if I take the 3 chords in the key of A, D, and D, those are my 1, 4, and 5 chords. Each of those chords has a relative minor. So A is F sharp minor, D is B minor, and E is C sharp minor. So now I know the 3 major chords and the 3 minor chords in the key of A major, just by knowing that 1, 4, 5 thing and the relative majors and minors. It helps you remember which chords are closely related to each other. It helps you figure out where pentatonic patterns are on the neck. It has a whole host of uses, and it is definitely well worth knowing. So try and get that one under your belt. Next.
Knowing how to figure out chord notes.
Yes, many times I've mentioned when we've been looking at doing some solo analysis or something in these videos where I've said, oh, and he's landing on this note here because it's a note that's in that chord, and landing on that note there because it's a note there. So basically, knowing what notes are in the chords you're playing over will help you sound tuneful and melodic. You know, you don't have to be a brainiac theoretician to make the most of this. The example I always give is, let's take a look at you know, for instance, a certain solo about you know, a hotel that might be in California. I think I got away with that. We don't owe Don Henley any money. But there's a lick in that solo where he plays like that. Now that sounds like a really kind of humdinger of a wrong note. Why has he landed on that? Because it's in the chord that we're going to there. It's going from a B minor to an F sharp 7th chord. And that F sharp 7th chord has this note in it. Okay? So being able to land on a strong note that's present in the underlying chord is, you know, it helps you sound good. I mean, how many times has that solo won some or other reader's poll of being one of the greatest guitar solos ever played? It's because, or largely because, it's tuneful, and what makes it tuneful is the emphasis on chord notes. So how do you figure them out then? Well, all you got to remember, you can think in terms of you know, roots and major thirds and minor thirds and perfect fifths and stuff like that. Again, the way I figured this out back in the day was I would take an E major chord like this, and I would say, okay, so what notes have I got here? I've got an E, which is happening there, there, and there. I've got a G sharp, which is there, and I've got a B, which is there and there. Okay, and let's map those out along one string. So there's an E, there's a G sharp, there's a B. I could see that in an E major chord, you take your root note, then you go up 4 semitones, then you go up 3 semitones, and you can hear that those are indeed the 3 notes in that chord. So major, 4, 3. In a minor chord, well, let's look at E minor. Well, all that's happened there is the G sharp has been replaced by a G. So map those out along the length of one string. There's your E, there's your G, and there's your B. So, okay. So there we go. Those are those 3 notes. And now you can see that the relationship between the notes in a minor chord is root, then go up 3 semitones, then go up 4. So major 4, 3, minor 3, 4. You can figure out what notes are in any chord. Then you can start looking for them on the neck using your knowledge of the chromatic scale, you know, that we talked about earlier. So I mentioned this note here. This A sharp that's in the F sharp 7. How do we know that's an A sharp? Well, look at what string it's on. It's on the D string. That's a D note there. Then we go C sharp, C, B, A sharp. That's how we know it's an A sharp note, because you know, we've figured out that that is one of the notes in the chord that we're playing over. So there you go. It's a massively useful thing to, well, it shouldn't really need saying, but if you're playing a musical instrument, if you understand what notes you're playing, it's going to make it easier to play that musical instrument. But there you go. Right, let's move on to the last one.
Knowing pentatonic scale notes.
Yes, knowing the notes in your pentatonic scales. because quite often you need to add notes into the pentatonic scales, like we were talking about in that last example there, where we're adding the A sharp into a B minor pentatonic. So it helps if you're looking for notes that lie outside the pentatonic scale to know what notes are actually in there to begin with. And there's a very easy way of doing this. There are two pentatonic scales that you can memorize very easily because they spell a word. The easiest one is the A minor or C major pentatonic. If I just play this pattern, okay, and I start on the top note and come down, it spells the word caged, C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D, C-A, like that. So if I know the next pattern, and I know that that's like that, and I've already figured out that is a C because it was a C in the last pattern, wasn't it? So we go C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D, C. So that's a C, that's a D, okay? And then you can, so D, C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D, and so on. You can start figuring out what notes are in the A minor pentatonic when you kind of walk through the patterns. If you know what notes are in the A minor pentatonic, how difficult is it going to be to know what notes are in the G minor pentatonic and where they are on the neck? Not very difficult at all, because using your knowledge of the chromatic scale that we talked about at the top of the video, you can just move all of those A minor pentatonic notes down 2 frets. So C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D, right, okay, so move them all down 2 frets, so it's G minor. That becomes B flat, G, F, D, C. Okay, and then back to B flat again. So those will be the notes in that scale. Once you've got one fixed point that you can, so that you absolutely know for sure, and this is an easy one, C-A-G-E-D, then you can walk around from that. Another pentatonic scale you can do, it doesn't quite work out as conveniently as this because, the notes don't come in the sort of order that they occur in the word, but the E minor pentatonic is E, G, A, B, D, okay? E, G, A, B, D, you can spell the word badge with those letters, so you then have to sort of rearrange them into, that's an E, and then what comes next alphabetically? Well, G, then A, then B, then D. So you can kind of work it around like that. But A minor pentatonic spells the word caged, and E minor pentatonic spells the word badge. If you know those two fixed points that you can extrapolate from and transpose from, then you're not going to take very long at all to know what notes are in any pentatonic scale, and as you're doing it, you're learning where the notes are on the fretboard. So there you go. Those are the 5, I think, most useful pieces of music theory that will stand you in good stead. Just get on and learn them, basically. Hope you found this video useful and informative in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like while you're at it. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. What's not to like about that? Fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it, but for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.